The meeting is called to order. Honorable EB members, member states representatives, Director General and team, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Hiroki Nakatani, outgoing chair of the Executive Board. It is with pleasure that I declare the 147th session of the Executive Board open. In the context of the restrictions imposed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and through a written silence procedure, the Executive Board has approved for the arrangement for a virtual session. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I think I have sang a song, so should I repeat? I don't think it's necessary. I will continue. The Executive Board has approved the arrangement for a virtual session of the Executive Board to be held using video conference technology. The session will only consider an abridged version of the provisional agenda. Before turning to the first item on election of chair, vice chairs, and rapporteur, we have two business to deal with. Firstly, we shall take up the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11 concerning the special procedures to regulate the conduct of this virtual session of the Executive Board. As you recall, the special procedures were developed by the Secretariat in consultation with the board members and other member states. They have been circulated in advance and discussed informally at several times with some member states' briefings. During such a process, I have heard no objection. Therefore, I think this should be okay with this board. But to make 100% sure, I wish to formally ask if the board ready to adopt the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11. Let me repeat. Is the board ready to adopt the draft decision contained in document EB 147/11? I am not recognizing any request of the floor. All right, so I'm confirming with the Secretariat that there should be no request to take the floor, and so I see no objection. The decision is therefore adopted. Thank you. Before turning to the first item of the agenda, I have another business. I'd like to refer to the email sent earlier today by the Secretariat to the Executive Board members regarding the question of the designation of the Executive Board members for Guinea-Bissau. In the circumstance described in this mail, I propose that the matter of the designation of the Executive Board members from Guinea-Bissau be considered by the Executive Board as necessary at its resumed session later in 2020. Is this proposal acceptable to the Executive Board? It seems there is no objection, so it is decided. We shall now proceed to the first item on election of chair, vice chairs, and rapporteur. That is item 1. Rule 13 of the Rules of Procedures of the Board applies and reads as follows. The Board shall elect its officers, a chair, 4 vice chairs, and 1 rapporteur from among its members each year at its first session after the Health Assembly, following a principle of rotation among geographical regions. These officers shall hold office until their successors are elected. The chair shall not become eligible for re-election until 2 years have elapsed since he or she ceased to hold office. This is the rule. In this regard, following the principle of rotation among geographical WHO regions, which the Executive Board has followed for many years, the chair of the Executive Board this time should be chosen from among delegates of members of the Southeast Asia region. Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Science and Technology, and Earth Sciences of India, has been nominated for the office of Chair of the Executive Board. May I take it that the Board is in agreement with this nomination? Since I see no objection, it is so decided. Dr. Harsh Vardhan is therefore elected as chair of the board. I am pleased to offer my congratulations on this election. At this juncture, allow me to make short personal remarks. In the past 12 months, the board has worked very hard. We established a new working method to facilitate active and focused discussion in this room. This enabled us to deal with nearly 60 agenda items at the 146th session of the Executive Board in February 2020. Our recommendations will be discussed in the intersession and the resumed session of the World Health Assembly. During my service, all EB members, WC Secretariat, and my own country team helped me. Without their effort, I could not have functioned well. Also, it is a rather unusual for a Japanese man to say, but I wish to express my thanks to my wife, who discouraged me from overeating under stress. I thank you all. Our fight against COVID-19 continues, and the battlefront is not only hospitals, but also research labs and elsewhere to find new approaches for humanities to successfully control this virus. History has taught us that large epidemics trigger structural changes and new mindsetting of people. The HIV/AIDS epidemic in 2000 led us to the creation of Global Fund. The SARS epidemic in 2003 led to IHR. H1N1 epidemic in 2009 to the PIP framework, and Ebola epidemic in 2014 to the creation of WHO emergency program. WHO must remain in the center of gravity for the ongoing and forthcoming big discussion. To do this, the role of the board is huge, since I believe that the legitimacy of WHO comes from good governance. During hectic times, one may be tempted to think lightly of this aspect, but for the long run, we must resist bypassing these fundamental elements. I have full trust on the proven leadership of Dr. Harsh Vardhan, a leader in political figures and outstanding medical professions to lead the board to the next level of excellence. Finally, I would like to close my remarks by thanking again all members of the board, including outgoing members, fellow bureau members, feedback chair and vice chair, and DG Tedros for their support and guidance to me as chair over the last 12 months. Thank you. Merci. Gracias. Spasiba. Shukran. Sheshe. And arigatou gozaimashita. Now I move to complete my duty, that is to invite Dr. Harsh Vardhan to take the chair.
バングラが手を挙げてみたいなので、
Excuse me.
何か意図があるか確認。
Excuse me. I recognize I was informed that Bangladesh would like to take the floor. Would you like to do now?
Just to make my statement, I wanted to know when can I make my statement, and I also express my from ourselves, from Bangladesh, congratulations to Harsh Vardhan for taking the chair. So just I will be interested to know when we can make this statement on behalf of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Bangladesh. My proposal is that I am inviting Dr. Harsh Vardhan to take the chair. So I think after he's settled, my proposal for Bangladesh to express your, I think, best wishes for him. That is very appropriate. Is it agreeable for you?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think I would conclude that I would like to wish every success for the new chair, and namaste.
Chair, you have the floor.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Let me begin by thanking the outgoing chairperson of the WHO Executive Board, Dr. Hiroki Nakatani, for steering the organization towards excellence. Thank you, Dr. Nakatani. I wish you all the best in all your future endeavors. Distinguished members of WHO, Executive Board, Director General of WHO, Excellencies, representatives of member nations, all regional directors, heads and representatives of UN agencies and partner organizations, and staff of WHO. This moment fills my heart with joy, one in which I yearn to rise in response to the warm and cordial honor which you all have bestowed upon me. And yet, at the same time, my heart feels heavy with grief, as more than 330,000 precious lives have been lost, and there is economic turbulence all over the world. Before I start my address, let me pay my homage to the hundreds of thousands who have lost their lives. My heartfelt condolences to those families across the world who have lost their near and dear ones to this deadly pandemic COVID-19. As a doctor by profession, it hurts me even more that despite great strides in science and medicine, we are still at the mercy of tiny pathogens. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel deeply honored to have the trust and faith of all of you. India and all my countrymen too feel privileged that this honor has been bestowed upon us. I have had a long personal association with WHO. I was privileged to come in contact with the organization way back in the early 90s during the initial years of my public life, when I was personally spearheading many missions in which we journeyed together and built an emotional bond. I have nostalgic memories of the WHO team with whom I worked very closely during my mission to eradicate poliomyelitis from India. I had the privilege to be appointed to prestigious committees of the WHO like SAGE and the Global Technical Consultative Group on Polio Eradication. I even served as an advisor to the organization, and I confess that if it had not been for the support and morale boosting by friends in WHO, I would not have delivered and achieved what I did. If today polio stands eradicated from India, I must admit it could never have been possible without the perseverance of WHO. Excellencies, I am aware that I am entering this office at a time of global crisis on account of this pandemic. At a time when we are fighting to simply stay alive, and at a time when we all understand that there are going to be many urgent health challenges in the next 2 decades. All these challenges demand a shared response because these are shared threats requiring shared responsibility to act. And of course, this is also the core philosophy of our alliance of member nations that comprise WHO. However, it needs a greater degree of shared idealism of nations. Friends, I have long nurtured a dream. It is about the health of my fellow citizens of the world. And I believe that health is central to economic performance and to enhancing human capabilities. However, public health policy must be based and guided on a proper understanding of nature. This is also the underlying principle of the Indian traditional systems of medicine based on holistic health and wellness, which I have lived and experienced. I have also the privilege of being the Health Minister of India, a country of 1.35 billion people. Led by a dynamic Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, we have devised an ambitious national health policy that aims at universal health for all. Our flagship health initiative called Ayushman Bharat aims at providing free health insurance to over 500 million people, making it the world's largest health insurance scheme. And we dream of making it bigger, ensuring it for each and every Indian. If a developing nation like India can dream of this level of health for all policy, the rest of the world has to think beyond this. When India decides, it performs. We eradicated smallpox and polio in our country at a time when there was abject poverty. More recently, we faced the threat of COVID-19 in a proactive and preemptive way with unmatched scale and determination. Today we have a mortality of 3% only. In a country of 1.35 billion, there are only 0.1 million cases of COVID-19. The recovery rate is above 40% and the doubling rate is 13 days. We have to admit that the current pandemic has demonstrated the vulnerability of humankind to exigencies, recognizing that we have to strive to act with greater speed and predictability. The pandemic has made humanity acutely aware of the consequences of ignoring the strengthening and preparedness of our healthcare systems. In such times of global crisis, both risk management and mitigation would require further strengthening of global partnerships to energize interest and investment in global public health. We also need to make higher commitments in respect of diseases that have plagued humankind for centuries. We need to conquer the adversaries with collaborations and by supplementing each other by pooling our resources. We need an aggressive roadmap to curtail deaths from diseases that can be eliminated. We need a fresh roadmap to address global shortages of medicines and vaccines. I would like to work with all of you on these goals and roadmaps. My personal motto is to protect the health of those without wealth. That is also one of the core philosophies of WHO. Propelled by the great history of the organization, WHO, and having been bestowed this honor of taking over as the chairman of the executive board, I ask myself, what more can we do together? In some respects, I am a votary of self-healing. I feel that we need to introspect and see what reforms we can undertake from time to time. There are fault lines in almost any health system. WHO is already providing thought leadership to the entire world in the sphere of public health, engaging in partnerships where joint action is needed, shaping the research agenda, and stimulating the dissemination of valuable knowledge. WHO believes in the principle that the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health is one of the fundamental rights of every human being without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic or social condition. We therefore commit to work with the member states, the organization, and the global community of partners for the efficient, effective, and responsive discharge of public health obligations. There is always scope as well as the need to catalyze further change. It is that fundamental belief which will be our guiding principle. Friends, today has been a great honor for me. With this personal honor, I also feel a deep sense of personal responsibility. I am sure that constant engagement with member states and other stakeholders will reinforce reforms and help accelerate progress towards achieving sustainable development goals and universal health coverage with the most productive, efficient, and targeted utilization of resources. I will put myself to work to realize the collective vision of our organization, to build the collective capacity of all our member nations, and also build a heroic collective leadership. I may or may not get there, but I can surely try, and I promise to try my best, for I am an eternal optimist. Excellencies, before taking leave of this august gathering, may I ask you all to give a standing ovation to all those frontline health workers who are risking their lives for the rest of the world, for our doctors, for our nurses, for our paramedics, for our hospital and sanitation staff, for our journalists, for our airport and security personnel, and for our army, police and paramilitary forces, and all those mothers of the COVID warriors who let their children take the risk of stepping out. We salute their dignity, their determination, and their dedication. Give them a standing ovation, my friends, by clapping loud and clear, by wishing them good luck and good health. I seek your love, your association, and your cooperation in my future endeavors at the WHO. Many thanks once again to all of you. Now like to invite our dear Dr. Tedros, the DG of World Health Organization, to please provide his opening remarks and his words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, Dr. Nakatani, Dr. Vardhan, distinguished members of the Executive Board, first of all, I would like to say welcome to this first virtual meeting of the WHO Executive Board. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Nakatani for his service as chair of the board over the past year, for his excellent leadership. Dr. Nakatani, you're a true friend to WHO and a true servant of public health. Arigato gozaimasu, my brother. I would also like to congratulate and welcome Dr. Vardhan on his election as the new chair. Namaste, Dr. Vardhan. You have a tough act to follow, but I am sure you will do it with the same energy and commitment as Dr. Nakatani. And I was so happy to hear you in your opening remark, and I can see your readiness and your commitment. So congratulations again, and look forward to working with you very, very closely. And I would like also to join you in paying homage to those who lost their lives, and also in appreciating our health workers who are saving lives while risking their life. And you said it in the best way, so thank you so much for your statement and the appreciation to the frontline health workers. I would also like to welcome the new vice chairs and rapporteur and the new members of the executive board. And I look forward to working with all of you. As you know, this week we concluded an unusual but very important World Health Assembly. Member states came together to pass a historic resolution on our collective response to COVID-19. Today, I would like to take just a few minutes to summarize very briefly WHO's work on COVID-19 in 7 areas: leadership, analysis, communication, supplies, expertise, research, and preparedness. First, leadership. Since the beginning of the pandemic, WHO has worked day and night to coordinate the global response at all 3 levels of the organization, providing technical advice, catalyzing political solidarity, mobilizing resources, coordinating logistics, and much more. In early February, WHO published our strategic preparedness and response plan, giving countries specific and concrete measures to prevent, detect, and respond to transmission of COVID-19. We updated the plan earlier this month with an estimate that WHO will require $1.7 billion to fund our response to COVID-19 this year. So far, almost $800 million has been pledged or received, leaving a gap of just over $900 million. With the United Nations Foundation and the Swiss Philanthropy Foundation, we launched the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, which has so far raised more than $214 million from more than 375,000 individuals, corporations, and foundations. And thank you so much to all who have contributed. Second, analysis. Throughout the pandemic, we have monitored, analyzed, and assessed trends and provide advice at the global, regional, and country level, and we will continue to do so. Third, communication. We have developed risk communications tools for parents and children, health workers, employers, faith-based organizations, and more. We have held more than 50 press briefings, and we have convened weekly member state briefings to create a platform for countries to share experiences and ask questions. And to fight the infodemic, we have worked with multiple tech partners, including Facebook, Google, Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger, Pinterest, Snapchat, Tencent, TikTok, Twitter, Viber, WhatsApp, YouTube, and more. I'd like to thank all these tech industries for their support in fighting infodemic. Fourth, supplies. WHO has shipped millions of diagnostic tests and tons of personal protective equipment to more than 120 countries, and we will ship much more in the weeks ahead. In Africa, WHO and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention work together to expand testing capacity for COVID-19 from just 2 countries to 44. Fifth, expertise. We published our first comprehensive package of guidance for COVID-19 on the 10th of January. And since then, we have issued almost 100 technical documents. We have constantly updated and adapted that guidance to make it applicable in the local context. We have also provided online training for more than 2.6 million health workers with 10 courses in 25 languages through our openwho.org training platform. Sixth, research. In early February, WHO convened more than 400 researchers from around the world to identify research priorities. We're tracking more than 700 clinical trials globally. And in March, we launched the Solidarity Trial to generate data quickly about which treatments were the most effective. More than 3,000 patients have been enrolled in 17 countries. Last month, WHO joined forces with President Macron, President Ursula von der Leyen, and Melinda Gates to launch the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator to scale up the production, distribution, and equitable access to vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. 10 days later, the European Commission hosted a historic pledging event at which world leaders from more than 40 countries pledged $8 billion for research into these life-saving tools.
मैं भारत के 135 करोड़ लोगों की ओर से सारे दुनिया के सभी देशों का जो विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के सदस्य हैं उनका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने भारत को और भारत के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के एग्जीक्यूटिव बोर्ड के चेयरमैन के पद का दायित्व यूनैनिमसली देने के लिए पहल की और आज नए एग्जीक्यूटिव बोर्ड की पहली वर्चुअल मीटिंग में सभी मेंबर नेशंस ने, डायरेक्टर जनरल WHO ने और सभी संबंधित अधिकारियों ने पूरा सहयोग दिया। मैं विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के माध्यम से दुनिया के सभी लोगों को ये आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूँ कि जिस प्रकार से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत में हम स्वास्थ्य को एक बड़ी प्राथमिकता के रूप में लेकर सभी के लिए स्वास्थ्य इस संकल्पना को साकार करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। कोविड-19 के खिलाफ भी बड़ी गहराई और गंभीरता से जंग लड़ रहे हैं। उसी प्रकार से दुनिया की स्वास्थ्य संबंधी अन्य सभी समस्याओं के समाधान के लिए सारे दुनिया के देशों को विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के पटल पर साथ लेकर और जो गरीब से गरीब दुनिया में व्यक्ति जिसके लिए स्वास्थ्य शायद इतना सुलभ नहीं होता, लेकिन भारत ने अपने आयुष्मान भारत योजना के माध्यम से बड़ी पहल की और दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा कार्यक्रम भारत के अंदर उसको क्रियान्वित करके दिखाया। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में 1 करोड़ गरीब लोगों को बहुत थोड़े से समय के अंदर उसके माध्यम से लाभ मिला। हम लोग आने वाले वर्षों में सभी दुनिया के देश मिलकर ये प्रयास करेंगे कि स्वास्थ्य का एक सकारात्मक पॉजिटिव एक स्वास्थ्य आंदोलन सारे दुनिया में विकसित हो। लोग बीमार ना पड़ें, इसके लिए उनको जितनी भी पर्याप्त शिक्षा देनी है, जितने भी पर्याप्त उनके लाइफस्टाइल्स में परिवर्तन कराने के लिए उनको तैयार करना है और फिर किस प्रकार से हम आने वाले वर्षों में बीमारियों को ख़त्म करने के लिए, बीमारियों के एलिमिनेशन के लिए, बीमारियों के कंट्रोल के लिए मिलजुल कर काम करेंगे। इसके लिए अब भारत के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री होने के साथ साथ सारी दुनिया के साथ भी और गंभीरता और गहराई से मिलकर काम करने का मुझे अवसर मिलेगा। विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन से मेरा संबंध आज का नहीं है, ये वर्षों पुराना है। जब मैंने अपना राजनीतिक सफ़र प्रारंभ किया था, पोलियो उन्मूलन से लेकर और टोबैको कंट्रोल और विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन की एसेंशियल ड्रग पॉलिसी जैसे अनेक विषयों पर विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ मिलके हमने वर्षों काम किया है। उनकी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बहुत सारी महत्वपूर्ण कमेटियों पर रहकर काम किया है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आने वाले समय में भी हम लोग मिलजुल कर विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के माध्यम से दुनिया के लोगों के लिए स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में नए आयाम हासिल करने का प्रयास करेंगे। मैं पुनः अपने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को धन्यवाद करता हूं, जिनके मार्गदर्शन में हम लोग काम करते हैं और इसके साथ साथ पुनः सारे दुनिया के सभी विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन के सदस्य देशों को, भारत को ये उन्होंने अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है, इसके लिए धन्यवाद करता हूँ।